Hello, this is Tyler, and we're talking politics. We've got some major news to talk about today because the situation between the United States and Iran is getting more serious by the day. Over the past several days, the United States have carried out more military strikes after attacks on American forces in the region. Tensions are rising across the Middle East, and countries like Saudi Arabia are becoming more involved. At the same time, oil prices are climbing, and hopes of talking to each other have taken another hit. Now, Iran's government is not some innocent victim here. The Iranian government have spent years supporting armed groups across the Middle East. It has threatened US allies, pushed back against America, and cracked down on its own people. But here's the question I keep coming back to. Is the path we're on actually making America safer? That's the question because every time another missile is launched, every time another airstrike happens, and every time another country gets pulled into this conflict, the chances of a much bigger war keeps growing. And honestly, we've seen this movie before. Maybe the names have changed. Maybe the countries change. Maybe the presidents change. But the story starts to sound familiar. More money, and before you know it, America is involved in another conflict that lasts for years. That's what worries me. I'm not saying the United States shouldn't defend itself. Of course it should. If America's service members are attacked, our military has every right to protect them. But defending ourselves and getting pulled into another endless war are not the same thing. So let's ask another question. What exactly does victory look like? Seriously, if you ask 10 different people in Washington, would they all give the same answer? If our leaders can't clearly explain what success looks like, then the American people deserve to know why we're continuing down this path. Now, let's talk about something that hits a lot closer to home, and that's money. Whenever conflict breaks out in the Middle East, one of the first things people notice is gas prices. Eventually, those higher costs show up in grocery stores and on everyday items families buy every week. That's why foreign policy isn't just something happening thousands of miles away. It affects people right here at home. If you're filling up your truck, your F 150, trying to pay rent, buying groceries, getting eggs and milk, or keeping up with inflation, you will feel it. Now, here's another issue that doesn't get nearly enough attention, and that's Congress. The Constitution gives Congress the power to declare war. The people who wrote the Constitution didn't want one person deciding when America goes to war without serious debate. Over the years, presidents from both parties have taken one or more and more military authority. It's about making sure the American people have a voice through the representatives they elected. If we're going to spend billions of dollars and risk American lives, Congress shouldn't be sitting on the sideline. There should be debate. There should be votes. There should be accountability. Now, let's talk about diplomacy. It means trying to stop a war before it grows even larger. Think about it. Almost every war eventually ends up the same way. It usually ends because somebody finally sat down and started talking. The question is, how much destruction happened before the conversation begins? When another country attacks you, even people who don't like their own government sometimes rally behind it. That happens throughout history. Do you guys remember 9/11? Instead of weakening hardline leaders, military actions can sometimes make them stronger because they can point and an attack and say, see there, we told you this was coming. That doesn't solve the problem. It can actually make it harder to solve. And then there are people caught in the middle, ordinary families like you, parents trying to keep their kids safe, hospitals trying to stay open, workers just trying to make it home. War doesn't just affect soldiers, it affects millions of civilians who have no say in the decision made by their government. That matters. Every innocent life matters. Now, let's be clear. None of this excuses the Iranian government. Iran has a long record of human rights abuse. Its leaders have jailed political opponents, restricted freedoms, and supported armed governments across the region. Those are facts. But here's something that's also true. Just because Iran has done bad things doesn't automatically mean that every American military decision is the right one. We can criticize Iran's government while also asking tough questions about our own government strategy. Those two ideas can exist at the same time. So, where do we go from here? Personally, I think America should always defend its troops and protect its allies, but I also think we should know exactly what our goals are. How long is this expected to last? What would have to happen for negotiation to restart? What's the exit strategy? Because history tells us it's a lot easier to start a war than it is to end one. And that's why I believe Americans should be paying very close attention to what's happening right now. Not because panic helps anyone, because informed citizens make better decisions. This story is changing every day, and we'll continue to follow it as new information comes in. I'd like to hear what you think. Do you believe the United States is doing the right thing? Should America continue military operations against Iran, or should the leaders put more effort into finding a diplomatic solution before this conflict grows even larger?